Welcome to Maturity. In a recent study by consultants Bain & Company, a list was published of the top 10 key management tools worldwide. At number 1 was benchmarking. When benchmarking is properly utilized, a wealth of information and aids to decision-making are delivered that are of great significance to the success of a company. That's precisely what Maturity does, and we achieve even more for our clients with Benchmarking 2.0. How come, you ask? Let's answer this key question by asking another. What's so unique about Maturity? It is the combination of dedicated database architecture, fully developed benchmarking methods, and advisors with expertise in business management and IT. First, let's have a look at the core of our service provision, the database, its content and build.
1. The database, the content. Maturity is a company that specializes exclusively in IT benchmarking. Maturity's clients are top international companies in all sectors. They include not only larger SMEs, but global corporations as well. When analyzing these companies, we've collected comparative data together with the clients that is fully up to date and validated and offers significant information value during the course of many benchmarking projects. This data is collected anonymously in the Maturity database and forms a representative cross-section of the market.
A benchmark is only ever a comparison. In an IT benchmarking project, the cost and performance of IT are compared from various angles. Our primary principle is to compare apples with apples. To be able to do this in a robust manner, the comparative data we use must come from companies whose IT is as similar as possible in respect of complexity, quality, and volume.
2. The database, the build.
Other benchmarking companies also amass comparative data, with one subtle difference. The Maturity database does more. The key to what we call Benchmarking 2.0 is our particular style of record keeping. It's the key to made-to-measure benchmarking that offers particularly significant information value.
Maturity has developed a database structure that, unlike the norm with conventional benchmarking models, does not file standardized data, but works with indexed raw data of high granularity. It means that in order to achieve optimum comparability, we can map as realistically as possible a vast number of different client environments. The single items of data are compiled to form a model that corresponds as far as possible to the client.
To clarify the approach, here's the example of a car. Let's assume the benchmarking project has to analyze car A in the comparison, which for the price of X has specific extras. For example, heated seats, full leather upholstery, and sat-nav.
In conventional benchmarking, standardized vehicle B is now used for comparison, but vehicle B's extras vary in a number of respects and include, for example, adaptive headlights, tinted windows, and special paint finish. The original vehicle data and costs must now be adjusted to the standardized comparison vehicle in order to be able to compare the price with likewise standardized vehicles in the comparator group. However, this benchmarking exercise will ultimately only deliver a statement on the overall costs. In other words, whether the car has been acquired comparatively more expensively or cheaply than the cars of the others.
Maturity takes a different approach. We don't use a rigidly defined vehicle configuration, but store the individual components as well as information on the components that comprise the vehicles at the other companies.
For a robust comparison, we can call up and put together the basic vehicle type and all its extras individually from the database. Thus, we're able to put together a car that corresponds to that of the client and achieve maximum comparability.
If a lower price comparative vehicle now results from the database information, not only can we tell the client that their car purchase was relatively more expensive, but we also know which components triggered the price difference. Perhaps it was just a bad deal on the price for the leather upholstery that made the difference.
If we apply this example to IT, the car might represent a desktop computer. The basic model would be the PC, the heated seats, the internal drive, the leather upholstery, the monitor, and the sat-nav, the software installed on it. Maintaining data records in small segments with individual components delivers very detailed comparison scenarios, and therefore a quality of benchmarking that others are simply unable to offer.
Our style of record keeping therefore enables us to raise the information value of benchmarking to the client to a new level. The analysis models that we have developed to support this play just as important a role. When we consider the IT provision of a company, we look at 6 key features.
3. Analysis models used by Maturity. 1. Individual consideration. Maturity is able to offer customized benchmarking because our exclusively developed data preparation process, in conjunction with our modular system, also allows us to analyze specific areas individually. This in turn allows us to look at various angles. The purely functional angle. That is, we consider the network, server, computer center, application development, etc. The process-led angle, which includes ITIL conformity, problem management, etc. The service-led angle, which analyzes CRM and SAP applications, for example.
These methods for considering IT provision can be combined and adapted to individual client requirements. The client can look at individual modules and acquire a consistently standardized structure for all benchmarking undertaken.
2. Benchmarking in 5 dimensions. The chief principle here is always to investigate all parameters that are relevant to cost and price. These factors can be represented in 5 dimensions. A. The individually defined performances that are to be benchmarked. B. The quantities behind the performances. In other words, how many computers, servers, etc. deliver the performance. C. The required quality. D. The complexity of the performance. E. The environment in which the company delivers the particular performance, for example, location, legal specifics, multilingual context. 3. Differentiated approach. In the initial stage of a benchmarking project, Maturity draws up a performance analysis. In the second stage, the performances that have been identified are classified into an assessment or rating system.
The performance volume is a good example. When thousands of servers are installed in a company, the assessment will turn out differently to that of a company with only a few servers. As well as quality in its own right, quality standards are also assessed in order to assess the company's current status.
4. Assessing equitably. An assessment of a company is usefully carried out in the complexity, quality, and volume dimensions. The assessment is ranked according to a scale of 1 low to 15 high, and serves to identify companies in the database that show similar ratings, and can therefore be defined as a realistic comparator group. Not only is the actual situation of the comparator company with respect to its costs used for contrasting, but a certain life cycle is also taken into account, which includes initial costs and subsequent outlays, such as maintenance, debugging, etc.
Only by considering a company over a certain period of time and by incorporating planned investment can an equitable assessment be achieved, which a snapshot on its own can never provide.
5. Full costs approach and level of maturity model.
As part of our differentiated costing approach, Maturity considers the full costs and includes investment in processes.
An optimum process costs profile of the client is then generated using a Carnegie Mellon University model, and both the actual values and competitors' comparator values are contrasted. 6. Additional benefits through KPIs.
Maturity pursues an integrative approach, compiling benchmarks that are specific to the client. The numbers collected are of significant information value, not just for benchmarking purposes, but can also serve other functions within the company as KPIs. For user help desks, for instance, this would be the costs per call or the costs per opened ticket.
And finally, what else is unique about Maturity?
We find the advisors. Being able to answer the many complex questions that are thrown up in Benchmarking 2.0 projects proficiently requires a specific combination of expertise. Maturity advisors with their technical and business management knowledge of IT are a cut above the rest, and most of them have also acquired practical understanding as IT managers in their professional careers.